Hello, welcome back to another video. This is British CX Champs 2026 at South Shields. So races on Saturday, we drove up on the Friday. This is a little stop for lunch on Friday. Had a nice lasagna, pretty good pre-race meal. But yeah, it was South Shields is in it's Newcastle, right by the coast. It was really far away. That's why we drove up the night before. So I changed the tyres, wanted to get my muds on for some reason. Not sure if it was the right call, but and it was a really crisp morning. Had a bit of snow where we were staying in Durham. But yeah, got up, rode around on the bike a bit, trying to seat the tyres because they hadn't seated properly. But yeah, we were off to the race. It's an afternoon race, which is quite convenient at the Nationals. Didn't have to wake up super early. But yeah, race is at 1:30, so it's pretty good. Got to the course right by the coast. It was absolutely beautiful. And whenever I go to these national level races, I'm always just amazed at the quality of the course and how fun they all are to ride, because even if I don't do particularly well, I just really enjoy the event. And then we were on to this course practice, and we had this incredible backdrop with the waves, and they were just huge, and they were breaking so far out. And it was quite a cold day actually. It wasn't too windy, but you could definitely feel it. So this was the course is in two halves. This was the top field, and it had all these shady banks and these kind of fast corners, which I really enjoyed actually. I think they were quite hard work though. And then after I did my course practice, there were some other races going on. This was the long sandpit. The video doesn't really do it justice there, but it was actually super long. A couple more clips of the waves. And we were literally just overlooking the sea, and it doesn't look very spectacular from up here with the camera and all, but it was just incredible views, and you could just hear the waves crashing in the background. But yeah, I'd gone down with Dylan and Rowan to scope out the start and just get a feel for what would be going on. And then it was pretty much onto my race after that. I did one more course practice, just did another full lap, and I gave the sand a bit of practice. And there's the car park there with all the massive vans, and we were literally just starting. And my dad spoke to one of the commissaires. Apparently the sea had just come up over this road, and it just dumped a load of sand on it. They had to get the diggers in to dig out the road. It was just covered in sand. But I was gridded alright actually, 27th, so that was the fourth row. And I ended up getting a really good start. You can see the stand here at the end of the road. It was pretty sketchy, and then you just went up into this massive climb, and then it was onto the rest of the course. So here's Isaac Vickery here, last year's under-14 national champion. Gets a really good start, and he starts stretching out. And at this point I moved up into about 20th, so I was really going well at this point. I'm really happy how it's going. And then again, the camera doesn't really do it justice, but this climb was steep. And it went onto the sand, but not onto the sand. It went onto the grass about halfway up. But I think it was a pretty good start, and it sort of dropped you halfway around the course. Didn't manage to get any other clips from lap one, but here is Wilf Pugh and Theo Wan with a decent gap on the rest of the riders, closely followed by James Hardesty in third. And these three ended up having a pretty good battle throughout the race. James was a little bit further back, but they just gone from lap one. No one could really catch them. See James there on the left, and I wasn't doing too badly at this point. I got up into about 15th on the first lap, and then I didn't overtake anybody. I treated it like a road race, kept on getting on people's wheels and hoping they'd pull me back to the front and then make a mistake and lose a bit more time. As you can see here on this next straight, Ruben comes past me and I just get on his wheel, and there were times when I could have overtaken, but I was just content sitting behind people, which was really a bad move today, because I kept on getting caught up and I wasn't able to get through. And that was sort of the story of my race, but I still thoroughly enjoyed the event, and pretty simple way of improving. So yeah, just definitely worth the long drive coming up and having because I didn't have any problems this race, which I was super happy with. Just sort of got on with the race and did a solid performance. Really, I did want to be quite a bit higher up, because I managed to drop from sort of 20th after lap one all the way down to about 30th at the end of the race. But yeah, I was just happy that I didn't have any other problems like I did at Derby and at Clanfield. And I've seen the dates and the venues have been released for next year's National Trophy Series, where I will be a junior. And all the races are a lot more central. None of the ones in Scotland, a couple in Wales, Cyclocross, one of the venues for next year. So yeah, definitely going to try and get a lot more racing under my belt. Back onto the race though. Here is Wilf. He's got a little gap on Theo through the long sandpit. He had to unclip at the end there, so I think Theo must have made a bit of time back there. And Theo was going really strong. I think he wasn't super impressed with himself from some of his performances earlier in the year. He'd had some incredible results, but I think his sort of standard for himself is extremely high, and he definitely managed to show how good a rider he is at this race. Here you can see me just sort of slogging through the sand. I made a mistake there. Just lost too much momentum before I got off, lost another position to Rowan there. And Rowan was on a really good race. And then now you got me, Sasha and Rowan sort of just locked together.
Go Nathan!
I'm not sure the name of the guy behind us, but I was having like huge problems in that entire sand section, because I'm not quite sure why, but I hadn't cleaned my shoes from Andover the week before, so they were just covered in mud and stuff, and the sand was just, the mud got all wet because of the ground, and then the sand would stick to the mud, and I couldn't then clip in. So it was, I had the sand bank, which was way down by the road. Then I couldn't clip in between the sandbank and the sandpit. Run halfway through the sandpit because I couldn't build up enough speed to ride through it, apart from in the practice laps. And then I wouldn't get clipped back in after the sandpit until the end of the pit, until the end of like the pit area, not the sandpit, but like the bike change pit. Which was just, it was a massive problem because I'd lose 100 metres there every lap, and then I'd spend the rest of the lap chasing back on or getting stuck behind somebody. I had quite a good battle with Sasha though. He managed to drop me on the last lap because I had made a massive mistake in the sandpit. Then he crashed going into it. But yeah, this was the other part of the course. This is where the sandpit was, but we had this the South Shields outdoor velodrome. I think it probably doesn't get used anymore. It was covered in grass and stuff, but it made for quite a spectacle. You could see the football field on the inside, but this bottom section was super fast, coming through the finish, which made for some quite good sprints. And then we actually climbed up the velodrome banking. Then we had some smaller sand pits, which I think everyone was riding. They were so short that you could literally not even hit the ruts and you'd get through, but everyone was riding through them, so the ruts were pretty firm, fairly easy to ride. And then this was the longer sand pit. I was doing alright here actually, but it was definitely, I rode through it in practice and I knew what I had to do in the race, but I think sort of just the pressure, I wasn't able to pick my lines how I wanted to. It's definitely one of the skills. You can see someone absolutely flying through there. Definitely something I want to work on. You see Rowan here running.
Come on, Nathan!
Because I do enjoy the sort of more technical aspects of the cyclocross. I'm just not very good at them because it's again experience. I've never really ridden in this type of sand before. Here's Theo. Wilf, I'm not sure if he had a crash mechanical in the last lap, but they went into it really close. They'd been attacking each other. I think Theo had the upper hand going into the last lap, but Wilf's about 15 seconds down here. And obviously he's won every single national race this year, and I think he definitely deserved to win today, but so did Theo. Just both had absolutely incredible performances. So Wilf was really trying to get back and win before the end.
Go Nathan, you've got this! I
don't think he changed all race, apart from in that last clip just then he was on his pit bike, so clearly something happened. I ended up getting caught by George and Finley, who you can see there in the sprockets pink and blue, and I just let them through again. I didn't actually realise it was the last lap at this point until I heard someone in the pits shouting at somebody that it's the last lap. So yeah, there's Sasha,
Come on, Nathan.
and I'd let Finley through again, just hoping he'd pull me back on. There's Finley there, and then me and George had a sprint. I think I was in front. I saw it on the shadow as well, but for some reason timing chip picked up George and was in front of me. But yeah, 32nd, 1 spot behind George. Doesn't really matter in the end because we were so far down, but must have been really close in the end. But yeah, pretty happy with the race. No problems, just a solid result at the Nationals, and do better next year. Now we've got Forest Dean at the Western League, and then hopefully Wessex League at Crowcross to sort of finish off the season. And then we've got final year road
coming, okay?
under 16s. Final year as a youth rider, so yeah, big things to come. See you in the next one. Bye.